So almost anything can be a stamp. You know, I have a big stamp collection of stamps that I bought over the years. Just and I can certainly bring them with me and come to your class. It's very fun for kids. But the other thing, you can take anything and make a stamp. So this is a stamp right here. And I found the best way to get ink onto a stamp. It's my piece of plastic. The best way to get ink onto a stamp is to do it with a sponge. You know, you can put ink out and dip the sponge into it and get it on your stamp right away. You can, if you go to put the ink on a stamp, it just doesn't work as well. So this is just poster paint. And you know, as a species, we like repetition. So when you can do something and repeat it over and over again, we really like that. This is just yarn and a block of wood. Pretty simple. And this is the similar thing. This is rubber bands. I'm all for doing things as cheap as possible. You know, so often artists are asked to, you know, you can do this, but you got to get your own supplies. You know, we've heard that story before. Mm-hmm. This is printed a little cleaner than the yarn.
I think it'd be interesting to do like a 18 by 20
yeah.
piece and then do one color, then
turn it and do another color. Oh yeah, you could do some amazing things with this. And this is just very, very, very simple. You know, and anybody can do this. This is very, very easy to do. Absolutely. And then this stamp is made with a piece of glue foil. It's they use it for where's my sample here? They use it for wrapping ducks. Mm-hmm. So it's duct foil, so it's sticky backed. So you just peel the back off and stick it to your let's get another color here.
When you apply it, you just kind of try to create some texture as you go.
Oh, I don't even worry. Well, yeah, I just kind of wrinkled it a little bit. We'll see how it works. You know, sometimes I do these things that I think are going to be really great and they aren't. They don't work. But we'll assume this is going to work. Need to push a little harder. So you can get texture with lots of stuff. Yeah, you can just get a jillion things. I mean, it's not too amazing, but it's interesting. And then this was must have been packaging for something we got, and so of course immediately, you know, as an art teacher, you immediately think, what can I do with that? You know, what can I do with that? That was so cool. How can I make that into something I can use? And so you say, well, what if I just...
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, we're going to do some screen printing on it. We're going to screen print on it.
So then...
Because you could reduce that too. You could take that and just keep clipping away. You know?
Exactly, and it was a big, long piece. I just cut a chunk off.
For like,
yeah, for something. And then the other thing I found, these are Christmas ornaments, and this was just in my stuff. And so this year, before then I didn't do it, but this year I glued it to a piece of wood. So I glued these with tacky glue, And I glued these with wood glue. I'm just going to lay these out here so you can see them. So these are, this was an ornament. This whole thing came in a package, and it was at, I don't know if it was at, I think it was at Michael's. And I got all these pieces out of this one package, so you could see all the fun stuff you could make here. You know, there's a little house and all these different trees. And then this is something that was a couple years ago, and I found this in my stuff, these little ornaments. So it's the same kind of thing. You just put the ink on, and then this was a piece of scratch foam, insulation foam. That's, you know, how they have that little stuff on them. So here's my little stamp here with my, I'm going to get another piece of paper here for this. So we'll have to print our scene with all that stuff. But I just thought this snowman would be really cute. I don't know about a red snowman, but. So look at that. Isn't that fun?
Oh, yeah.
And it's so easy.
You said that's just foam?
It's just a piece of, you know, like packing foam, that thin packing foam. And then of course you can use, this was something that came off of a food container. It came like that, and so of course immediately I said, ooh, can I have that container? You know. The other thing that I did, and I haven't actually tried these yet, which you shouldn't do a class where you haven't actually tried this stuff, but these were other things that I got. These were little buttons. Let's see if those work, little snowflake buttons. And I just glued them with wood glue to this. It's very handy to have a wood sculptor in your garage. You can just go out and say, could you cut me something that's round that I could use for a...
Yeah, I'm literally 5 steps from my construction.
Yeah, so it's really helpful to have somebody that can do that for you. You could do it yourself, but, so these are, as I said, these are buttons. I just got these at Joann's, so they weren't anything too exciting. And this was a whole package. This was a whole package of these little gingerbread men. Yeah, they would. I mean, it's very, very easy, very simple. And there was about 50 of them in the package, so you could make a lot of, yeah, you could put a whole bunch of them together. So I've got all my different sizes of snowflakes here. And then the other thing that I had that I was going to show you. So last year, this was $3.99, and I saw these on at some craft store, and probably on sale, because I always buy everything on sale. And I thought, oh, look at all those little tiny pieces. Boy, those would make great stamps. So there's like, I don't know, probably 10 in each one here, all these different little snowflakes. You should take it out and see if they're... Oh, there's maybe 6 in each one. They're just little spongy ones. So this is the same idea of the... So you can see almost anything can be a stamp. And this one I've got 2. This is a double, 2 for the price of 1 on this one. So one printed, one didn't. Maybe we need a little cushion under our... Printed better. So you can make anything a stamp. And then big stack of stamps. Then the other thing I wanted to show you was scratch foam printing, and everybody has done that, where you have drawn on a piece of, it's called scratch foam, but you can also get it in sample trays from Safeway. You know, they put packaged meat in it. And at the dollar store, look at this. I got all these foam trays and all these round ones, and these were each $1. So there's 40 here and 30 here. So that's quite a few foam trays for $1. I don't think you can buy the scratch foam that cheap. So this was a good deal. You just have to, you know, cut them apart. But this is one that somebody did in one of my workshops. And so I just thought it was cute, so I saved it. So I'm going to print that one for you. And so what I tend to do, let's see, we'll just get a little poster paint here and we'll use it. What I try to do when I'm working with kids is I try to line up like 3 choices of colors or 4, and I have the brayers, and I roll out the ink, and I hand them the brayer, and I don't let them roll out the ink, because if they're rolling out the ink, pretty soon they have it all over themselves, all over the table, and they have this big mess. And so I've just found that if I just give them the brayer and then they roll it on their stuff, the mess is way less. It's much more controlled, which is what you want, because, you know, kids are basically pretty messy. And this is just poster paint. This isn't anything fancy.
Tempera paint?
Yeah, this is just tempera. So I'm going to do this same thing in different ink so you can see how different it looks in different stuff. And yeah, you notice that I'm not getting ink anywhere but on the stamp. But I've been rolling ink out for 40 years or so. When the kids do it, believe me, it will be everywhere. So I try to have them work on a, you know, big piece of plexiglass so I can just wipe it off. So the way you do this is pretty simple. You just push on it. It's pretty hard to do it wrong. And here's my printing press. And of course, because this process reverses, all printmaking process reverse, you don't want to do words. I mean, there's a way to do words, but so that's pretty light. Now let's try different ink and see what we get. We'll do the same color with the, is there anything in here? This feels almost empty. I've got a nice package here with nothing inside it. Just got to try to do a light color so that. And then when I'm working with a whole class of kids, I just take these after they print it. Sometimes they want to print it a couple of times. Sometimes they want 2 colors. That's always hard because you've got to roll it out together. So when they want 2 colors, I say, well, maybe. It just depends on my mood. Usually I say no, but 2 colors. So we can roll this ink out. This is Speedball block printing ink. This ink is water soluble. That doesn't mean it'll come out of your clothes. The pigment is still pigment. So I have done this very same process using both warm and cool colors with a class, and we did it on little pieces of, this is like a 2.5 by 2.5 inch block, not very big, and we did pieces that were just a little bigger than this out of fusible iron-on Pellon. And so what we did, so you can see it's much better with the Speedball ink. So what we did was we printed it on the ink, warm colors one day and cool colors the next day. And we printed it on these little pieces of fabric, and then all we had to do was iron them onto a big piece of material and make a giant banner. It was very fun for their room. The other thing you can do, one time I did this, I don't know what got into me to do this project. It was a huge project, but we did, I worked with 3 6th grade classes at Springville. It was a brand new school at the time. And they were, we actually got a grant from RAC to do it, which was great because it paid for the materials. And we cut out foam core, the shapes that we wanted, and the whole thing was on the Tillamook forest and saving the forest. And so the kids, they did this really elaborate thing where they planned what they were going to do, and then they cut out all the stuff, and then we actually printed it on fabric. And then my sister, being the wonderful person she is, sewed these things all together. So we had these banners that were like 6 feet tall that they hung in the school, and each one on kind of a section of the forest, you know, and preserving it and everything. And then they actually hung some in the forest in their center at the Tillamook Forest. So that was a big thing for the kids. They were pretty excited about that. And it was a big project. It took about 6 weeks. I'm too old to do that again. I don't want to do that again. But it was very fun. I really enjoyed doing it. So as I said, this is very easy to do. You just draw on this stuff with a piece of, I usually use a dull pencil, works pretty well. If you use a pen will work, but it'll print the first couple times that you print it. The ink will come off. So a dull pencil works better to draw on here. And you can just, you know, you can see this isn't very deep. Let me wipe this off, and I'm going to let you, I'll just hand it around so you can look at it. I just dump these when I'm working with the class. I have a bucket of water at the end of the table, and when they're done printing them, we just throw them in the water, and then at the end I clean them up. And if they want them, you know, sometimes they want them, sometimes they don't care. If they don't care, then I use the backside next time for somebody else. But if they want them, then, you know, of course I'll let them take them. So you're welcome to see how it's not very deep, but you can see that it worked pretty well. Yeah, so it's just a very quick little drawing with a really good result. You know, this came out pretty well.